in cui la storia cambia.
What do you remember about the first proposal to play in Star Trek franchise? Is it true that you had some doubts at the beginning?
Oh, some doubt is very much less than what I was feeling. I'd never heard of Star Trek. I didn't know what it was. So I did know, however, that my children had enjoyed it. So I had to call my children and say, guys, quickly, I got an appointment coming up. Tell me about Star Trek. And they did tell me what they could. At the time, I was so immersed in theatre, in stage work, and my career was really beginning to take off. I was becoming a leading actor with the Royal Shakespeare Company and in the West End of London and with regional theatre. And the idea of television, and especially films, which I thought would never come my way, was absurd. And so when I was told that I would have to sign a 6-year contract, I was appalled. Until everyone began to tell me, look, you'll be lucky to make it through season 1. You cannot revive an iconic series like Star Trek, so don't worry about it. I remember one guy saying to me, make some money for the first time in your life, go and see California, meet some girls, and get a suntan and go home. Well, it develops into a little more than that, although I now have an American wife.
Ben ritrovato, amico mio. Cos'è questo? Che cosa hai fatto? Benvenuto sulla strada che non hai scelto.
You played, as you mentioned, in your career a lot of Shakespeare drama. How that classic helped you to create a modern character like Picard, for example?
Oh, that's a rarely asked question, but it's one that I've always thought about. Shakespearean dialogue is somewhat stylized, has to be, because a lot of it is written in iambic pentameter, it's verse form. There is that element about Star Trek dialogue that is kind of similar. I never felt that it was totally spontaneous and natural, that there was always a sort of shape to it. And often, and by the way, perhaps the most important thing, you don't have pockets in tights. And we didn't have pockets in our spacesuits. So there was none of this, putting your hands in your pockets.
Che diavolo sta succedendo? La realtà è stata spezzata.
C'è una divergenza. Conosco qualcuno che può aiutarci a capire il cambiamento nel tempo.
Star Trek is one of the most inclusive show of every time for any kind of aspect of inclusivity. What does it mean to you belonging to this kind of story?
Well, as we have all said many times, but I will say I've learned enormously by being part of this show. I did not understand the significance of the show in terms of culturally. And I now see the impact our role models and the philosophy of the show has had on people all over the world. I've met person after person, women who have become surgeons, they say, because they saw the character of Dr. Crusher, or a male. Just last night I met a man who was working on something that they call the Tricorder Project. And he said that Dr. Crusher inspired him to go into medicine. That's what we forget, is the importance of having role models upon which people can project the hopes of a better future or their dreams of what they might do with their life. And the philosophy of the show is very beautiful and profound. The inclusiveness, the learning how to work together, tolerance, learning how to think, actually taking a look at all sides of a problem. So I've learned a lot from our fans and and it was a wonderful opportunity this year.
Credo che ci sia un'ultima frontiera ancora da conoscere.